Awesome. Welcome, guys. Appreciate everybody being here. Just finished with a mock Wednesday practice for us. We'll go into a Fast Friday tomorrow, and then we'll have a kind of accelerated run-through on Thursday into a mock game with a lot of special situations and a game situations, offensively, defensively, special teams on Thursday, which will put us a week out. So we're 9 days away. I got goosebumps talking to the team afterwards today, just how close we really are. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, man, 9 days away, Thursday night, 5:30, Ray J. If you got to work, that's a great day to half day work or even work from home that day. I know some industries you can work from home. I would encourage you to do that and then come on over right around 2 o'clock and see two high-end football teams play in a big-time game at night at Ray J. So I'm excited. We're in a good spot as a team. We are getting healthy off of camp. This was a huge week for us to get a bunch of guys healthy back, a bunch of guys back their weights they're supposed to be, kind of out of the true grind of what camp is into the true grind of what the season is. A lot of guys learning what that looks like, what process looks like in terms of getting ready for a game. A lot of young guys that we're expecting to play that are figuring it out. I challenge the older guys to grab the young guys and show them what it looks like to get ready for a game. And biggest challenge for us is to stay completely focused on the task at hand, which is just going one day at a time as we get closer to playing. So really excited. Game plans are almost done, and we'll have essentially 2 runs at what it's going to look like here a week from Thursday. So I'll open it up.
Alex, we were talking to the tight ends last week. You got West, who's back and healthy. It seems like a very veteran and also versatile group that you have in that room. Right? If you could talk about them.
Yeah, that tight end group, obviously a position that's close to my heart. We've tried to build that thing for the last 2 years, and Wes was a big piece of that when we first got here, but he had to grow and develop and learn truly how to play. Evan Dangler is a young guy that we moved over from the D-line because we needed a body, like a physical presence in there, and he's grown, played a ton of football a year ago. And you've got Jonathan Eccles, who's got to continue to develop, came in and missed a bunch of time as a freshman. We've just tried to get his body right, but super intelligent player that has just got to physically be ready to play. And tight end's a developmental position. You want a big-time recruit to be ready to go as early as you can, but it's still a developmental position. It's a grown man position that you're playing with big bodies inside, and he's continuing to take steps to develop and get better. And then we add Wyatt Sullivan, who I tell you has been just incredible to have in that room. He's kind of the best mix of power and speed, and gives you the ability to play on the outside, but gives you the ability to play in the box. He's just had to learn to play in this system, to play in the tempo. Those guys are so versatile in terms of how much we move them around. The 2 freshmen, Tate Crable and Brandon Kube's a year older. It took him a couple of weeks beginning of camp, and the last week and a half, Brandon has come on and challenged for playing time in there, but it's given us flexibility. The depth at receiver, the depth at tight end has given us flexibility to play in multiple packages offensively, which, to be honest with you, we've not had. And I think being multiple give you the ability to do a lot of different things. It's as close to what we want to be as we can, as we've been since I've been here, to allow yourself to play in 12 and 13 sets, then being able to mix in and play in some wide open sets, which we haven't done a ton of. It just gives you more flexibility offensively, which as people prepare for us, that's what you want.
What will the best version of Byron Brown look like this season?
I think the best version of Byram is going to be just him playing relaxed and confident. He's really confident right now. The way he works throughout a week, he earns the right to be confident. You've seen the best version of him at times. That means he's running around and causing things to happen with his feet. You've seen the best version of him sometimes sitting in there taking a hit and delivering a ball. This right now for him, coming off of a spring where he got healthy and coming off of a summer where he's been really healthy, knock on wood, he's really confident right now. And as he's grown continuity with the O-line, with the wideouts, you want to see a version of Byram that's doing all of it with his legs, standing in the pocket, doing a ton in the run game for us, like just a confident, non-rattled Byram, which I think is what you're going to see. When he was at his best, that's what he looked like, and he's practiced that way. He deserves to be confident. He's physically in a really good place. He's throwing it better than he's ever thrown it. He's running better than he's ever run. There's a lot on him that we're putting more and more on him from a mental side, and he's handled all of it.
A few months back when Bryce was here, you certainly had great depth at quarterback. Now he's gone, but Gaston Moore seems to have come in. Is the confidence level similar with a guy like Gaston to if you still had Bryce? I mean, does Gaston bring that sort of security for you with your familiarity and his experience?
Yeah, Gaston Moore, man, he's so much further ahead than honestly we could have ever hoped for. We knew he knew the system, if you might, but the verbiage is all different. We've evolved so much from the last time I was with him, and the last 2 years at his previous place, they evolved different from when I was there, and so. Honestly, I didn't know what we were getting in terms of physically ready to play, mentally ready to play. But give Gaston a ton of credit. He stayed in shape. He kept throwing, kept working with his quarterback coach. He was coaching young quarterbacks, so he stayed in it. The part that I think we've all been really impressed, which gives us a ton of confidence, is the way he's carried himself. His question when he was coming in is like, where do I start on the depth chart? And my literal answer that Friday night was at the bottom. You're going to have to come in and earn. Like, if I ever handed you something, I'd lose all credibility here. And he literally went from last, moved up, and has really competed and pushed Byram. And when I say push Byram, they are attached at the hip everywhere they go. They are challenging each other. They're communicating an elite clip. He's older. He's played a bunch of football. He's forced Byram to communicate with him more. It's so different when you're going through the journey together. Where with Bryce, a lot of the time, like especially in the spring, Bryce was not here. He was with baseball anytime outside of this. So it's not a knock on Bryce, but simply just those two have been attached at the hip. And then early on grabbed Lachlan with them and Marcellus and Sam. And now it's become this really, really cool group of guys that are pushing each other. But to go back to Gaston, he's competed with Byram. He's competed with Locke. He's given us a ton of confidence to say, man, if there was a situation where we gotta go to Gas, I have 100% confidence that we could do everything that we can do with Byram, and it's because he's proved it. And to be honest with you, even more important than confidence from me, his teammates adore him. He's been here for a month. And his teammates respect him, adore him, but it's because of the way he works, the way his demeanor is, and he's relatable. He's really, really easy to communicate and talk to. So brings a little Southern drawl into that room, which is always a positive as well.
And one more guess, if I could, talk to some other coaches, and the Shane Falco name comes up. And I don't know what the real story is, if he was truly making the turn when he gets the call. He's on a golf course somewhere. It's an unusual situation. This guy's kind of out, not sure if he's going to come back, and then he comes in and he seems good. Kind of an interesting story, right?
Yeah, Shane Falco. What a great movie. That's a Cody Burns deal. He keeps pushing that narrative.
He was the first to mention.
Yeah, I would have believed
Joel
that.
mentioned it too.
Because he literally calls him Shane. So when I called Gaston loves being on the boat. When we were at the last spot together, I'd take guys out and we go surfing up at Norris Lake. Literally, first guy, Coach, we going on the water. So literally, when I called him, I'm like, "You on the water?" He's like, "Just got off." I'm like, "All right, dude, I need you to drive down here to Tampa." No, in all reality, he was coming off the boat, but he had just gotten a full-time job and was going to work. Had just started working, and be a good question for him. Ask him how he quit.
Going to be, I need 9 months off.
Yeah, he's writing his story. But yeah, you take a trip up to Charleston and see how that goes. There's worse places you can go.
Is that where he was going to work in Charleston? And he's a Hilton Head guy, right?
Hilton Head, but had just gotten a job in Charleston.
As a coach? Or?
No, working in logistics, like freight logistics.
Oh.
like a real grown-up job, not like
Seems a
us.
smart guy, huh?
Yeah.
Coach, your Boise had a lot of roster turnover during the offseason. How does that complicate trying to put together a game plan on them for the first game when you don't really have tape on a lot of their guys?
Yeah, they really haven't had a ton of turnover. Offensively, a little bit at the running back spot. They had a young man that was injured a year ago that's, they're obviously graduated, one of the best players in the entire country. And you look at it, really not going to miss just a ton there. Essentially, they played so many wideouts a year ago that even though they've graduated two, there's a ton of experience there. The quarterback's back. The tight end room is as good as there is in the country. And then they've got the nucleus of that O-line back. I mean, there's two guys on that O-line that are going to be draft picks that are real guys. You flip it over, they lose at the linebacker spot some, but they literally mixed it almost 50-50 a year ago where guys that have played a ton of ball are going to continue to play. They lost one of the better D linemen in the country, and you flip it on, bring in a transfer from Idaho that literally doesn't miss a beat. And then the back end, a majority of that group is back, and they took a couple transfers at the nickel spot that you've got film of from their last place, but they're so good at what they do schematically, defensively, that you can see how it would just be a plug and play. They don't do just a ton, relatively simple, but they do the simple really well. And then offensively, it's it all starts with that run game, and when you have tight ends like they've got, you don't have to change a whole lot. So I think from a personnel standpoint, it's really not as big of a change as you would think coming off the year that they had. They did a really good job, and give Lane a ton of credit. Like, they did an incredible job of keeping their really good players for the most part there, and it's a testament to their culture and what they're doing, because there wasn't a ton that hopped in the portal and went and chased anything. Again, ton of credit to them, and it speaks a lot to their culture, which is, from the outside looking in, relatively elite.
Coach, has you and your staff figured on your top 22 yet, or are there still some positions that the jury's still out on?
Yeah, I would say going into this week, this mock game week, we're really close on the guys that you feel like are going to be playing a ton of reps. Who starts, I think, based on personnel packages and that, but you feel like you've got your two deep set with some package guys. There's some young guys that have shown enough promise that you hope are going to start off maybe potentially as a package guy, but really on special teams. And I've talked about that a lot, especially those skill and big skill guys earning confidence through special teams before they're truly ready to go play. And I've said this before, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I think you're always going to err on the side of playing guys too late than too early, simply to allow them to build confidence and then be able to go perform. So a lot of that is going to come through special teams, but there's a handful of young guys that are going to start out rolling, having heavy roles on special teams that then will work themselves in offensively and defensively. But there's also some young guys that have worked themselves in the two deep, and man, it'll be exciting to see them go play.
Coach, it's gotten to a point now, especially in the trenches, you can't go with 5 offensive linemen and 4 defensive linemen. You've got to be deep, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to be deep. You've got to be deep to get through camp. You've got to be deep to be able to roll guys and play really offensively because of the tempo. You've got to be ready to go with 7 or 8 to have guys that can spell some guys, and then some packages there. And then defensively, we're 2 years in. This spring, I was like, man, I don't think we can have enough D linemen. Just literally keep recruiting. Anybody that fits our culture, fits our scheme, that's got game reps, that we feel like fits, man, let's go get them. And knock on wood, we stay healthy. We feel like we finally have got depth there.
Theoretically, in football, there's no game you prepare more for, have more time than the opening game. You don't have preseason games. I know you guys are all excited. You're edgy about what you got. I mean, what have you learned about opening game? We need to do this. We shouldn't do that. That's not necessary. I mean, is there any dynamics about how to approach this that you picked up on or you lock into now?
Yeah, I think the opening game piece, twofold. I think I've learned that you need this week to teach guys what a normal week looks like. in terms of this mock game week, rather than going through camp mode, but teaching these guys from a time management standpoint. When do I study certain things? What do I watch? What I need to watch? That's one. Two is using this week to get our bodies back and our minds back from a player standpoint, because we just went 3 weeks of physical as we've been, as hard as we've ever made it, on top of the heat, which has been pretty good for everybody. So using this week to, yes, we're practicing really hard, but using the time to get our bodies back, minds back, using some time to get away for a second and do something else. Victory Day was a good example of that. Just get away from ball for just a second and kind of refresh a little bit. But I think I've done a better job this year, or I guess we'll find out in 9 days, but a better job of mixing a little bit of time for them to get their bodies and minds back before we hit a true game week next week.
And what is the excitement level? Again, NFL, you have 3 preseason games. I mean, I know you guys are itching to get on there. Is it like you just can't wait for it, or what is this week like? Like you want to prepare, but the clock can't run fast enough to get to this game?
I don't know. I guess this is my 21st year doing it. They're kind of, you're in a rhythm and you're preparing. Yeah, it's exciting. You want to go see guys perform at their best, but I'm so process oriented that, like, man, today's a Wednesday. Everybody keeps joking with me. They're like, well, you know what day it is? I got no idea. It's a Wednesday practice. So I spent 5 years in the MAC. I think that prepared me for any day of the week. That's what I think this year is going to feel like, where literally in our staff room we used to have today is, and then you'd write, like, today is Wednesday. Whatever day it actually is, I don't know, but it's Wednesday. So that part is a little bit tricky. But yeah, you're jittery just in the sense that you want it to get here because you want to go compete and you want to go play ball. That's this job. I feel like that's the one. That's like it's like practice. It's like your 2.5 hours of sanity, and the rest of it is
Are you
not sanity.
excuse me, are you a big speech guy in the locker room before the game, or does that happen like the night before?
Yeah, I think actually I was just talking to Mac Harris yesterday, walking out to the field. I think if you need a pregame speech to get you going, you're probably a step behind. I feel that way about halftime. I meet with our guys on Friday night, just me and Coach Gio, our head strength coach, and Coach Jones, our director of player development, are in there, and that's it. Just us three, really, me and the team. And we meet Friday night, and we talk, and it's essentially our true final plan for how we're going to go attack the game. Sometimes it's an opportunity to get their mind away for a second and talk about life, but it's kind of my 30 minutes with the team every week where there's no other distractions, nothing around. It's just us. The pregame part essentially just hit on what's got to happen, and I truly think it's your prep leading up to it. That if I'm going to say something before the game to get you going, man, like we're off base to start with.
Coach, might there be a particular position group you're especially thrilled about?
Yeah, I would say probably a couple. I'm excited about the D-line. I'm excited to see those guys go play. I'm excited. There's a bunch of guys that will be in green and gold for the first time that are going to play significant minutes that I'm excited to let them go cut it loose and see what it looks like. Really excited about this DB group. Man, they've worked really hard. Have taken a lot of pride in what they're doing and how they're doing it. And it's such a veteran group with a couple of young guys that bring a cool energy. Really excited. They're really excited about our wideout room. I'm excited for these guys that just got here, freshmen and transfers, and then the growth of the guys that were in that room with Jaquan and Josh and how they've all just challenged each other. But I don't know if I'm more excited about one or the other, but I'm excited about those groups because there's just so much that people haven't seen that I'm excited to put on display.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
My clutch. Tony Saladino passed away.
That is a biggie. How old was he?
All right, linebacker Jalen Schuler, led some tackles in 23, just a few games with injury last year, still finished in top 3 in the team in tackles.
How y'all doing?
Good, Jalen. You guys kind of like caged lions right now, ready to get going next week, or there's still some fine details you need to zero in on right now?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, like you said, ready to get going for the game. That's what we work all year for the season. But obviously, we still got some time to improve and tweak some of the things that we got. But yeah, for the most part, excited and still got to fine tune some stuff.
Yeah, how do you, as far as your game is concerned, the last time you were on the field was the bowl game. You had a career high 12 tackles. What are some of the things that you felt you needed to work on coming into the season, and do you feel satisfied with where you're at personally right now?
I think it would be wrong if anybody ever said they were satisfied with where it was. But for the most part, honestly, I just lost a lot of my twitchiness and power changing direction because I tore my meniscus. But just coming back healthy, making sure I regain that ability, get around, plant, change directions, all that's probably what I've been working on the most this offseason.
Do you feel good where you're at right now with that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Jalen, since you've been here, there's been an emphasis on getting more pressure on the quarterback, TFLs, and you guys have improved and had some great games. But where do you think you guys are in that progression, and how important is that going to be to be good in those areas?
I mean, we done picked up a lot of good dudes, whether it was freshmen or transfers, that can help us get pressure on the QB up front. And then we implemented a lot of new stuff that would help us do that. So with the mix of the new people that we got, and then the people that we already got, and adding a little more, putting a little more emphasis on it in the playbook, we should.
How important is it just generally in college football to have
man.
that? If you don't have that, how much is it going to hurt you?
Tremendously, especially for a team like us who do so much cover one. That's probably the most important thing you would want to have, again, for a team like us who do a lot of cover one, because if not, then you're leaving the guys on the back end out to dry.
What do you think of when you think of Boise State?
They're good, real disciplined team. They done built their culture up, their tradition up off being real disciplined. So, for the most part, we just can't beat ourselves because they're not going to. You know what I'm saying? They don't have too many mental errors, too many MAs, but good athletes, obviously. But for the most part, like I said, they're just a team that stands really good on their tradition, which is doing the right thing all the time, being in the right place, making the right reads, stuff like that. So for the most part, as long as we come out and are the same way, not MA, no MAs, no miscues, no dumb, no dumb mental errors, then we should be a pretty good game.
Coach mentioned that you guys are treating this week as mock week.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like for you?
Oh, well, so it's different because we play on a Thursday. So basically, the last Friday was a regular game week Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So today is what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
So it's kind of tweaked, it's kind of modified. It's not exact because we don't have a game this week, but pretty much, yeah, we treat it as if today's a Tuesday, so that would be a game, Wednesday, I want to say, for a Thursday game. I could be wrong, but don't quote me on that. We have game week Wednesday, so pretty much just getting into the flow for all the new guys to see how we, how we go throughout the season, the schedule throughout week to week, just to get acclimated to the game week schedule.
Last year, you opened up with Bethune-Cookman. You're stepping up in competition big time here, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I would prefer it to be that way. When you play football, you want good competitive games. You don't really want to sweep everybody you play, that kind of take the fun out of playing. So being able to open up with a team who just went to the playoffs last year is huge.
Last year, you're basically a coach on the sideline from week 2 on. Did that help your mental preparation coming into this year?
I don't mean to sound like I got it all figured out, but you know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like I had a pretty good mental process towards game week in general, before and after. Obviously, it just turned into, like you said, more of a coaching role. So from that aspect, I'm just taking myself out of it. For the first time, it wasn't really more so about getting myself prepared. It was more so about getting Pat and Mac and Rod and all them prepared. So yeah, I feel like not too much has changed from that aspect because, like I said, I feel like I've had a pretty good process as far as mentally preparing myself. But yeah,
When you're looking at film of Boise State, there's a big piece missing from that offense this year. How hard is it to look at that and say, okay, where are we going to process this?
they had some pretty good backups behind Ashton, and then they got a new dude who's pretty good. But for the most part, they still have a lot of their key contributors. Like they still got the quarterback, he's good. They still got the tight ends, like they're good. So defensively, we know they're gonna have a replacement for the back. It's not gonna be Ashton Genty, obviously, but there's gonna be somebody who's good and who can work the offense just the same. And then, like I said, they still got the quarterback, tight end, and most of the O-linemen too. So that's really about the only difference.
Jalen, Coach was commenting on the defensive line and how anxious he is to see them face Boise State. Can you talk about the guys lining up in front of you and how well they've gelled? I know you got some new faces on.
Yeah, I mean, Josh came in obviously and just took off and ran with the role that he was given. D. Lee is somebody I'm really excited to see. Like, I feel like he doesn't really get as much praise or whatever, but he's definitely one of the guys I'm most excited about seeing up front. We got Flowers. He's pretty good on the edge. We're gonna get Mike back. He's gonna be good. I don't like to compare teams, you know what I'm saying, years or whatever, but I feel like we definitely have a better D-line this year.
What are your impressions of Gaston? He seems to be impressing everybody.
Gas fight, yeah. Nah, he's cool, man. I sat down with him one of his first weeks here. Me, him, Matt, and Byron, man. We just chopped it up. He's real cool, real good dude, really good at football, obviously. You know, the Tennessee scheme, he came in and adjusted to the changes that we made since he's been out of it and all, but real good dude, cool dude, hard worker, like just keeping the main thing. He ain't worried about nothing else except ball and just being a good teammate.
What about your group? Everyone knows about you and Mac. Everybody else pretty much is a freshman or a transfer. So
Yeah.
what are you scouting for?
Yeah, I mean, we got Rod and Zay, who were the two young dudes last year. Rod took a couple of snaps last year. Zay didn't take as many, but throughout the offseason, Zay done took a lot of big steps to grow, and Rod has too. And then, you know, we brought in Vez and Rocco, and, you know, they aren't there yet, but it's close. They're getting to hang on to how we do stuff here and the scheme and everything. But, yeah, we got pretty good depth in the LB room.
Jalen, when you get into the meat of the season, there's such a rhythm, you know, week after week after week. Opening game is different. You've got a long run up to it, a lot of anticipation. I know you're probably itching to get on the field. What's the best way to approach an opening game to keep things in perspective and be ready and but not be over ready?
At the end of the day, it's just football. You know what I'm saying? And as excited as we all are to make it bigger than it is, it's gonna be week by week, game by game. It's all gonna be the same, you know. So the same way we attack this game next week, it's gonna be the same way we attack Florida and Miami and South Carolina State interconference and all that. So at the end of the day, like I said, we are all excited and antsy to get into it, but as long as we attack it like it's just another football game, that's what it's gonna be.
Thank you, Jay.
Good, thank you.
Thank y'all. Y'all have a good day.
All right, St. Cole Best. Make you sick of appearance to camp here. Making a few appearances to camp.
Yeah. How we doing?
Would you add to what Jalen said about Gaston and how everybody's taken to him very quickly, because he just came in right before camp, right?
Right.
So if you could talk about the relationships that he's built here so far.
Yeah, no, like he said, he's a really cool dude. I knew I liked him the first time I talked to him when the first thing he talked to me about was fishing. He's like, I hear you like fishing. I'm like, oh man, he's going to be a good friend of mine. So we've got some dates set up to go out and do stuff like that. But yeah, he's a great guy. He comes in, same dude every day, just pours into his teammates. He's always got a positive attitude, and goes without saying, he just works really, really hard, and he instantly gained respect from his peers and his coaches here.
And your impression of how he's been running the offense so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he walked right in, and it's like, wow. You know, he's confident. He knows this. He was obviously in the system before, but he picked up on the little things that we changed here and there really, really quick. And, I mean, when your quarterback's confident and there's not like a flinch of not being confident, I mean, it's easy to go out and play.
Cole, what's the best version of Byron Brown going to look like as he gets back on the field?
best version of Byron Brown is going to be unstoppable. I mean, we've all seen he can take off and go run. So as an O-line, I mean, that's very promising, knowing that he can dip and go just outrun just about anybody in this conference, in the nation. I think you're going to see a lot of explosive deep balls. I think you're going to see a confident, tough, like triple threat quarterback. I think one of the most impressive things is the muscle he's put on. I mean, you look at him and he is solid right now. So everything's looking really good.
What do you think it's been like for him to, mentally to have this gap, have to sit out for as long as he has? Is
Yeah.
he just chomping at the bit? He's just kind of laying in the weeds, getting ready to get back in there? Or what's his mindset?
For him, Byron always does a really, really good job of keeping his composure. I mean, you can see it in his face every day that he wants to be out there and that he hates not being out there. But I think he took the opportunity to grow in a lot of areas, kind of like I talked about earlier, being off the field, growing in his leadership, growing and coaching up the young guys, growing up and seeing things that he might have not seen before. And when he came back that first practice of fall camp, it was the most confident I've ever seen him, and it's just grown since then throughout camp and into mock game week and into week 1.
First directive of the offense, establish the run. The first directive of the defense, stop the run. That's got to be some hellacious battles in the trenches with that happening.
Yeah.
When you look at that dynamic, how important is it to that first series set the tone?
It's everything. It's everything in a game, especially in our offense where we're a fast tempo offense. And if we get off to a good start, you gain a minimum of 3 to 5 yards on the first play, you're going to set yourself up right where you want to be. It really comes down to who wants it more. Kind of like Shu said, at the end of the day, it's football, and it comes down to you and the guy in front of you and whoever wants it more.
Everybody says third down's the money down. First down's the most important, isn't it?
Absolutely. If first down's great, then you don't have to get to third down.
Thanks.
What are your impressions of Boise?
Boise, so we've done a lot of study into them. I think they're a very talented team, which goes without saying. They've had a lot of success in the past. I think they have a lot of smart players. I think they're very disciplined. We got a great plan for whatever it is they're going to bring. I think they're a confident bunch. I think they're a physical bunch for sure.
On the note of the running game, could you speak on some of the guys that are running behind you now, you guys?
Yeah, so we got Sam Franklin in there, who's, again, he's done a great job running the ball. Cartavius Norton, he's been out for a little bit during camp, but in the flashes that you did see of those two guys, it was like, man, if we're right up front, we're going to have no problem pounding the rock. So I'm excited. Definitely got guys back there.
How important is it at your position group to have depth and experience heading into this year?
Yeah, so in the offensive line, I mean, depth is everything. One of my favorite quotes was the most important position on the offensive line is the backup center. Because, everything can be great, but if that starting center goes down and that backup center isn't ready, then you don't stand a chance. So next man up mentality is true at every position, but I think on the offensive line, more than anything, because you got to be physically ready, you got to be mentally ready. I mean, at the blink of an eye, you're next man up, and there can't be a drop off. So it is everything.
When you first saw Boise on film, did you go, is that field blue, really?
Yeah, watching them play at home on their field is definitely a little bit weird. I don't think I would ever be able to get used to that. But, it's their thing. It's cool. I respect the tradition, but it's definitely weird when you see it on tape.
Home field advantage for sure, right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Well, what's your gut tell you about this team, what you're going to put on the field this year?
I think you're going to see, my gut says you're going to see a group of guys who are going to play for each other. They're going to play hard, whistle to whistle, and we're going to leave everything we have out on the field. There's going to be no regrets. There won't be a drop off. It's going to be just balls to the wall every single play.
Is that a reflection of the leadership or the veteranness of the team?
Absolutely. I think it's a huge part of the leadership and the veteranness of the team that was very imminent throughout camp, and older guys bringing the young guys along. But I think it's also part to the young guys and the transfers and the newer guys stepping up and filling some big shoes. I mean, there was a lot of guys that had opportunities throughout camp. And it was awesome to just see. I feel like everyone's buying in, and just everyone's going to buy in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Good day now.
You too.